Imagine a world where uh, a single corporate board meeting could decide the fate of an entire galaxy, not, metaphorically, literally.
Yeah.
We look at a lot of world-building projects, but today we're diving into Verseworld. And honestly, calling this a story, it feels like a massive understatement. It's more like a collision.
That is the perfect word for it. It's a collision of like high concept speculative biology, absolute cosmic horror, and strangely enough, some very grounded, terrifying corporate realism.
It is so dense. This is the brainchild of Dominic T. Adams. And before we even get into the monsters and the aliens, I was struck by the meta layer of this source.
Oh, how it's created.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, but the method is really unique. Adams has these neurological challenges, so writing physically is difficult.
Yeah.
He envisions every single detail, down to the molecular structure of a toxin, and then uses an AI as a scribe.
I found that fascinating, too. It's so distinct from what we think of as AI-generated content. The AI isn't inventing here. It's acting as a bridge.
A translator.
Exactly. It's translating a mental image into text. And honestly, given that the world of Verseworld revolves around synthetic intelligence and, genetic tampering, that method feels incredibly thematic. The medium matches the message.
Totally.
Wow.
Just sets the stage perfectly for the kind of high-tech weirdness we're about to walk into. So our mission today is to crack open the central entity of this universe, Cantu Industries.
Right.
On paper, they're a biotech corporation. But reading through these files, especially the security protocols, it's pretty clear they're basically a sovereign nation with better tech than most superpowers.
And significantly fewer morals.
Much fewer morals, yeah. We are talking about a company that manufactures synthetic dragons, hides entire islands, allies with aliens, and keeps a basement full of apocalyptic viruses.
It's that tension, right, between the miraculous and the monstrous. That's the core of Cantu Industries. They have the technology to cure every disease and traverse the multiverse, but they choose to use that same power to manufacture nightmares.
So let's start with their footprint on Earth. Because if you want to find Cantu Industries, you have to go to the South Pacific to a place called Laros Island. But here's the thing.
Good luck finding it.
Right. According to the source material, this place is 741 square miles, but officially, it just doesn't exist.
And this isn't just, deleting it from Google Maps. This is active, aggressive erasure. The level of tech you'd need to hide an island that size is just staggering.
I was looking at the specs for their invisibility measures. It's not magic, it's hard engineering. They're using metamaterials for radar absorption.
Which is incredibly difficult at that scale. Metamaterials bend light and radio waves around an object. We see this on stealth fighters, small prototypes. Covering a 700-square-mile fortress in this stuff, the cost would be astronomical.
But the part that really blew my mind and terrified me a little was the satellite masking. Because we live in a world where satellites see everything. You can't hide an island from a lens in orbit.
You can if you hack the feed. Cantu uses a dedicated AI that intercepts satellite imagery in real time. It green screens the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah, it overlays pre-rendered images of open water over the island's coordinates, so a spy satellite looks down, sees waves, a ship's radar looks out, sees nothing. And meanwhile, you've got this massive facility, an airfield, and 10,000 people just sitting right there.
That is a terrifying amount of computing power. To do that live, globally, it implies they're decades ahead of our tech.
Precisely. And that's just the camouflage. The physical security is even more intense. They have a perimeter defense system with underwater hydrophones. So if a sub gets too close, it's not a warning hail. It gets swarmed by autonomous guard drones.
And the missile defense grid. The sources describe these retractable silos hidden in the landscape.
Yeah.
It's a strict no-fly zone enforced by surface-to-air missiles. It feels less like a corporate HQ and more like a Bond villain's lair.
Well, it speaks to the mindset of the CEO, Evan Jones. You don't build a fortress like that unless you're paranoid.
Deeply paranoid.
And you don't get that paranoid unless you have something truly world-shattering to hide.
Well, let's talk about what they're hiding. Because while the 10,000 staff are living their lives, taking maglev trains, eating in cafeterias, there's some really dark stuff happening in the labs. We have to talk about DNA sculpting.
This is the proprietary tech that put Cantu on the map. But it's worth noting, they didn't exactly invent it.
No, this was the juice in the backstory that I loved. The incident thorn in 2005, they stole it.
That's the allegation. The tech originally belonged to a rival firm, Biosynth. And Biosynth was reportedly trying to use this for medical purposes, curing genetic defects, organ repair, that sort of thing.
And Cantu allegedly infiltrated them, stole the core data, and basically left Biosynth to burn.
And instead of curing cancer, Cantu took that stolen tech and built the digital Genesis chamber.
Which is, it's a horrifying industrialization of life. The sources describe a genetic design interface where they visualize the code and then a bioassembly line. This isn't growing things in a petri dish.
No. This is 3D printing biological matter, layer by layer. They are treating evolution like a manufacturing process.
And the flagship product of this stolen tech, the Raycon, or to use its scientific name, Anomalodraco agnathus.
They built a dragon.
They built a dragon. But I want to get into the specs because the details where it gets so gross. This isn't some fantasy creature. It has an 8 to 10 meter wingspan. And the body plan is all wrong. It has 10 limbs.
That stood out to me too. 10 limbs violates almost every vertebrate body plan on Earth. You have the wings, 6 legs, and then those 2 chest arms.
The chest arms are so disturbingly specific. It's like they designed it to grab things while it's flying. And speaking of flying, the source notes say this thing clocks in at 124 miles per hour. That's faster than a lot of small planes.
It's an apex predator in every sense, but the mechanism that really highlights the science in this fiction is the fire breath. In most stories, fire breath is just magic. Here, there's a diagram of the tongue.
Yeah, the pyroglands. It's chemical warfare.
Exactly. It stores hydrogen peroxide and hydrazine in separate glands. These are hypergolic fuels, basically rocket fuel.
Right.
They travel to the tip of a hollow bone spike in its tongue. When the 2 liquid streams meet in the air, they spontaneously combust.
So it's a flamethrower. A biological flamethrower.
Yeah, chemical flamethrower. And if that wasn't enough, the sound. Did you catch the part about vocal mimicry?
I did. This is psychological horror. It can mimic human speech, but not to talk. It does it to lure people.
It's a lure.
Yeah, it sounds like a person screaming for help or a crying child just to draw you out of cover.
It doesn't understand the words. It just knows that making those sounds brings the food closer.
Yeah.
And once it catches you...
Well, the reproduction cycle is the final nail in the coffin.
Oh, God, the parthenogenesis.
It reproduces asexually. It has a stinger, but not for venom. It uses the stinger to implant an egg directly into a living host.
Which is just pure body horror. It's the alien movie trope, weaponized by a corporation. And honestly, I think I'd take the dragon over the other thing they make, the common monster, Thanatosaurus horribilis, the death lizard.
First of all, who names their product the common monster? That is corporate branding gone so wrong. But this thing, I was reading the description of its anatomy, and the hands freaked me out.
The hands are a crucial detail. It's synthesized to look like a dinosaur, but it has these highly distinct, human-like hands and wrists, opposable thumbs.
Which means it can open doors.
Exactly. It can switch between quadrupedal movement for speed and bipedal for manipulation. Imagine a velociraptor that can pick a lock or turn a doorknob.
And it has sensory superpowers. It sees in UV, it has pit organs for heat detection, and hearing up to 400 kilohertz. It is designed to find you no matter where you hide.
And both of these creatures use the same venom, CNHMT, Cyneurohemomyotoxin.
Which sounds like a Scrabble hand, but the effects are just nasty.
It attacks the nerves, blood, and muscles, all at the same time. But the kicker, the toxin itself is flammable.
No.
Yes, so if the Raycon bites you and then breathes fire on you, the venom in your bloodstream accelerates the burn.
It's overkill. It is absolute overkill. And they're making these things on an island that doesn't exist. But, believe it or not, the monsters are actually the tame part of Cantu.
We have to go underground.
Right. The facility layout mentions underground level 1, which is standard biocontainment. But then there's the open secret of level 2, downstairs.
Officially, level 2 does not exist. The elevator panel doesn't even have a button for it.
But I love the security theater required to get there. It's not just a key card. You have to pop a false panel on the elevator controls. Then it requires dual custody. 2 different people have to insert their keys at the exact same time.
Plus retina scans, fingerprint scans, and this is the part that shows the AI integration again. An AI analyzes your behavioral patterns. If you're sweating too much or your micro-expressions show hesitation, the door doesn't open.
And what are they protecting down there? It's an arsenal. But not guns, it's a viral arsenal.
This is where Cantu shifts from just unethical biotech to, like, an existential threat. The list of viruses stored in level 2 is sadistic.
Let's run through the catalog. First up, Rabiflu.
Which is exactly what it sounds like, a hybrid of rabies and influenza. It has the airborne transmission of the flu, but the neurological destruction of rabies. And a 90% mortality rate. It's a civilization ender in a vial.
Then there's HPNV, the human pyrogenic necrosis virus. The chemistry on this one is wild.
It's horrifyingly creative. The virus rewires your metabolism to stop breaking down fat into energy, and instead it turns your fat into acetone.
Nail polish remover.
Right, and it accumulates phosphine gas in the tissues. So essentially, the victim becomes a walking chemical bomb. It's the biological explanation for spontaneous human combustion.
But the one that I think shows the true darkness of Con2 isn't the bomb or the flu, it's Oncovirus X, the cancer virus.
That one is so insidious because it's not a battlefield weapon. It's a transmissible virus that integrates into your DNA to trigger rabid, multi-organ tumor growth. You don't use that to win a war.
No.
You use that for assassination, to quietly remove a political rival and make it look like natural causes. It's a tool for political reshaping.
And then, of course, the crown jewel of bad ideas, the zombie virus, Necrovirus Z.
I appreciated the scientific attempt to ground this trope. The source material explains it's not supernatural. The virus specifically targets the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain for reason and inhibition, and just destroys it. At the same time, it hyperstimulates the amygdala.
So you're left with zero reasoning and 100% aggression.
Correct. But the reanimation part, that's microbial fermentation. The virus rewires the nervous system to run on a different chemical process, keeping the muscles moving even after the heart and lungs stop. It turns the body into a puppet for the virus.
It's a lot. You have this facility that is effectively brewing the apocalypse in a basement. It feels like Con2 has two faces. Upstairs, they're sculpting dragons. Downstairs, they are bottling death.
And if we stop there, this would just be a story about a very evil company. But that duality is key because there's a whole other branch of Con2 operating on a completely different scale.
The Ardone branch.
In 2018, Con2 made contact with the Thedrons.
Real, actual aliens. And we have to shift gears here because the vibe changes completely. We go from zombie virus to quantum philosophy.
The Thedrons are not just guys in rubber suits. They're tetradecapital. They have 14 limbs.
Which is just hard to visualize.
It is. They have 4 cephalic limbs on their head for fine manipulation, 2 on the chest, 8 for walking. It's a biology that evolved in a totally different environment, but the physical differences are nothing compared to the mental ones.
Their brains. They're biological quantum computers.
Literally. We process information linearly, cause then effect. The Thedrons perceive quantum resonance. They can sense the structure of the multiverse itself.
So this changes how they see time.
Fundamentally, think of time like a road. We're driving on it, and we can only see what's in front of us. To a Thedron, time is a map. They see the road they're on, but they also see every single turnoff, every intersection, and where those other roads lead. They see the present as a nexus of probabilities.
That's mind-bending, and it has to affect how they interact. I was reading about their social structure, specifically entangled pairing.
This is their version of a bond, but calling it marriage is too small. It's a literal quantum entanglement of 2 minds.
So they're psychically linked.
Deeper than telepathy. It's physics. Their neural states are entangled. If one feels something, the other feels it instantly, regardless of distance, and it's biologically necessary for their mental stability. Without it, they unravel.
It's beautiful in a way, but also terrifyingly vulnerable. And this is where the irony just hits me. You have these profound philosophical aliens who have a department called the DRDA, the Department of Reality Divergence Analysis.
Their motto is observe, preserve, refrain. They catalog alternate realities, the altverse, but they strictly forbid interfering. They know that messing with timelines creates paradoxes.
And yet, they are partnered with Con2 Earth, the same people making the fire-breathing dragons and the zombie virus.
It is the ultimate mismatch. You have the reality watchers partnered with weapon makers.
It makes you wonder, do the Thedrons know what's happening in the basement on Laros Island?
They perceive probabilities. They must see the timelines where Con2 releases those viruses. They must see the futures where Earth burns. And yet, they're still collaborating.
Maybe that's the corporate part of the story. Money or resources transcends even species barriers.
It raises a massive question about the endgame. Con2 is using the Thedrons to access the multiverse. But are they going to export their Earth-based paranoia to other realities? Are they going to start selling Raycons to other dimensions?
Or release the Rabaflu on a parallel Earth just to test it out.
Exactly. The source material sets up this tension. You have the downstairs secrets, the worst of humanity's urge to destroy, and you have the Ardone wonder, the potential to understand the very fabric of reality. And sitting in the middle, controlling both, is a CEO who hides his island behind a hologram.
It feels like Verseworld is asking us to choose which version of the future is going to win. Is it the transcendence of the Thedrons or the brutal industrialism of the Raycon?
It's asking whether high-tech progress inevitably leads to high-tech destruction. Cantu has mastered the building blocks of life DNA and the building blocks of reality quantum mechanics, but they seem to lack the wisdom to wield either responsibly.
So bringing this back to us, the listeners, why should we care about a fictional, invisible island?
Because Verseworld is a mirror. It takes our current obsessions, biotech, AI, corporate overreach, the search for alien life, and it dials them up to 11. It forces us to ask, if we could print a dragon, would we?
And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Someone absolutely would.
And if we could turn fat into a bomb, would someone try it? Verseworld suggests that capability eventually creates intent. If you build the digital Genesis chamber, eventually you will make a monster.
It's just a massive scope. We've gone from the microscopic precision of printing a DNA strand layer by layer to the macroscopic view of seeing time as a web of probabilities.
And the scary part is how compartmentalized it all is.
That's the image that sticks with me. I keep thinking about that elevator on Laros Island. You could be a scientist standing there, holding your coffee, heading up to the astrophysics lab to talk to a quantum alien about the nature of love. And standing right next to you is a guy going down to level 2 to feed the zombies.
And neither of you knows the other's truth.
So here's the thought we want to leave you with today. We look at Quantum Industries and we see the horror and the wonder. But in a world where a corporation can literally rewrite the genetic code, manufacture monsters, and engineer love via quantum entanglement, what is left of the definition of humanity?
If you can manufacture the biological and you can map the probable, does morality just become another variable you can edit in the code?
If you had a key card to Quantum Industries and you stepped into that elevator, which button are you pressing? Are you going up to the stars with the quantum philosophers? Or are you curious enough to go downstairs and see what's behind the blast doors?
And are you sure you'd be able to handle the answer?
Thanks for diving deep with us into Verseworld. We'll see you in the next reality.